Chat. So let's get started on the analysis. All right. So starting off with the monthly on gold here. We're on to the last day of the month. 1 day and 9 hours left into the monthly. You can kind of see that we are starting to form some type of bottom wick, and obviously at this point it looks like we are going to close bearish. However, there is FOMC tomorrow, so there's a slight chance that we may not actually close bearish. There's a slight chance that we actually may close above the range or even close back into the range. We'll see what happens tonight or tomorrow, all right, after FOMC. But post FOMC going into the Asian session tomorrow should be very wild to see where we're at. I'm kind of excited to see what that will be. But from what I'm seeing here, chat, it looks like you have came down, tapped that support level. This is the range that you're in. Again, pretty straightforward. This is the same analysis I've been doing every day since January 1st, right? Overall, we were expecting price to continue driving up to fill the wick. However, price is not doing so. Price spent the majority of the month coming down for a bottom wick, right? So depending on how we close, again, we can close above the range like this. If you close above the range like this, then obviously you're gonna drop next month, right? But chances of that happening are very low. But if you do close like this, the next month what you can expect is, since there's no top wick on the previous kind of high, you can kind of expect price to come up to create a top wick before coming down to retest the lows, because that'll be a top wick for us to rip down to the bottom of the range, since we're closing bearish at resistance, right? And if price closes bearish back into the range, then what that indicate is that again we have range coming down towards the next support, which is down here. However, you need a top wick still, so you still expect a top wick before ripping down. So those are like the three situations I'll say that we could possibly be in. Again, we're just drawing out the scenarios. Whichever comes. I am not in control of that, but it's just good to plot out, ahead of next month. But again, it won't really affect your 10 pip trade today or whatever you look to grab today. It's just the overall monthly analysis. All right, so keep that in mind. Dropping down to the weekly. The weekly looks like you are coming up for the first 2 days. So you came up yesterday or Sunday, Monday, and you still don't have a bottom wick. So at any given point, price could come down to print a bottom wick. Right now, the thing is, you have 3 days and 9 hours left. And within those 3 days and 9 hours, you have a bunch of folders such as FOMC, and then you have another folder called NFP on Friday. So those are two very major folders that may sway the way things look. Right, may affect the way price looks in terms of the weekly. Now, sorry, why is it so dark? What's key to understand is, like, you don't have to anticipate the top wick before ripping down here on price. Like, if you look at price here, like overall, you can kind of say that, okay, there is a support over here to the left, right, at the bottom of the range here, and there is a resistance up here at the top of the range here. This is the range that you're currently sitting in, and I would say that if this is the range you're in, then overall, I would assume that will come down to fill the bottom of the range. However, the thing about that is it may not do so, right? There's news. So for all I know, it can just continue to push up towards wherever. The thing is, you have 3 days left, so that's still a lot of time, right? If it was Friday or Thursday, I'd be like, okay, chances are we are going to flip bearish. But keep in mind, like, it doesn't have to flip bearish. It's just what you're overall expecting for the monthly, or the weekly, because the weekly closed bearish last week, right, back into the range, and you have a wick to fill, and you don't have a bottom wick yet. So you're kind of expecting the weekly at some given point to rip down like this, which I am still expecting to this day, right? But as the week goes on and we do our morning analysis each day, that might change. But as of right now, as of today at 8:16 a.m. Eastern, that is what I'm still expecting for the weekly. But yeah, top wick just to rip down is what is to keep things short and simple. So monthly done, weekly done. Drop it down to daily. What's up here? The daily looks like you actually closed above the range yesterday, which was at one point you guys were like, it's not gonna happen, Don. I'm like, yeah, man, I agree with you guys. I don't think it's gonna happen either, but hey, it happened, right? It ended up closing bullish above the range. So it does look like we have a breakout. However, there's a couple of key things here and a couple of issues that we may have on price on the daily. And you guys probably know what I'm talking about if you've been here for at least 3 months to 4. And that problem is you have no bottom wick on the previous daily low, right? So what that means is whenever you have a bullish candle with no bottom wick and it closes bullish, typically I would expect at some given point, in terms of structure, you would need to grab liquidity. And if you need to grab liquidity in this situation in terms of structure, then there's a high chance that price likely will come down towards that bottom wick area, because typically whenever you do grab liquidity, it will typically tap those levels, because those levels are just minor resistance levels, minor support levels, right? So take a look at price here. This is a minor support on price right around here. And in terms of the overall structure, what's being done here? You're bearish, obviously, right? In terms of the overall structure. So, which means in order for you to drive up and go against that entire structure and fill the complete opposite range going up, right? Which looking left is going to take you up towards here next. What needs to happen? Likely what needs to happen is you're going to need to grab liquidity. So if you're going to need to grab liquidity, what you could look for is a bottom wick, because that bottom wick will grab liquidity for the structure, right? For us to continue up. And on top of that, it will be the previous day low as well. So the only issue I'll say with this is that you need a lot of volume for this to happen on this exact day, in this exact situation, because for you to rip down towards 2020 is going to require 104 pips drop. And for you to rip up towards 2056 is going to require you to drive up by an extra 300 pips. So you're looking at like 450 to 500 pips in total today, right? The chance of that happening are very slim, because there is news, but nothing too major. And yeah, I think that's the only issue. However, you might not come down for a bottom wick, and that's another thing as well, right? There's no guarantee of you coming down for a bottom wick. So your job today is to identify the main struggles today, which we just identified. The bottom wick is a struggle, and because we don't know what's gonna happen, right? So if you could put out the main struggles like that and point them out, you want to look for ways to get to those main struggles. So what I mean by that is, okay, if there's no bottom wick on a daily and that's a struggle, and that's something that's going to be a little hard to look for today, what could you use today in your analysis to confirm that will be the bottom wick? What you can use in your analysis to confirm that price is going to come down before coming up, right? Like you're trying to find out ways to anticipate that on the small time frame. So let me go ahead and just mark up this real quick, because I'm doing this live right now, so I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to show you guys how I'll do it live. So I'm just going to put this line here. This is not a buy stop, don't worry. But 2017, that's just where the bottom wick on the daily is. So I just want to put that there just to identify that. Let's drop down to the 4-hour candle and see what's up. So yeah, the 4-hour candle, the 4-hour structure looks like we haven't moved much in this candle. We kind of just came down for a bottom wick, came up and flipped. You have 40 minutes left. What I do know is that there is a minor resistance here. However, something else that I noticed here is that yesterday's price, remember how yesterday we kind of came back down? That was liquidity, it looks like, on the 4-hour time frame. In terms of the 4-hour structure, right, you can kind of see the structure here was overall bearish, which means that you need to grab liquidity down before coming up. In this situation here, you actually closed above the range yesterday, which is here, and then you came down for a bottom wick just to close back, respecting. I think I had my support drawn like right around here yesterday, right? But you seen an overall of a couple candles all close respecting the support. This bearish candle came all the way down, came back up, closed respecting. The one afterwards closed bullish at support, respecting. The one afterwards bearish, respecting. The one afterwards bullish, respecting. And this one obviously came up. And this one is going to close in 4 minutes here, which likely will respect as well. So 2028 is a pretty strong level on price here. And the bottom wick area we said was 2018. So if the daily we're expecting a bottom wick because there's no bottom wick, however, the 4-hour candle already grabbed liquidity, which is near that zone, do we need to come down for a bottom wick? The chance of it doing so now, since I just seen this, is a bit lower than it would be if you weren't to have a bottom wick yesterday on the 4-hour time frame. So if this wasn't here, for instance, right? If you've never seen this here, then I'll say, okay, yeah, cool. There's a high chance that you are going to come down for a bottom wick. But since this already formed, there's a very high chance that, or my bad, a lower chance that you could come down towards those areas. So, which puts us in a situation to say, okay, well, I think anything above 2038 would be great for buys, because above 2038, you kind of have clean traffic going up towards 2056, right? And if you already grabbed that liquidity in the 4-hour time frame, then looking left, there's nowhere else to go but the top of the range. Obviously, there's levels going up as well that you got to pay attention to, which is going to be a level here at like 2048. There's a minor level here as well. That could you could see price struggle at, which is 100 pips away from the closure above here, but still overall you still got some ranges going up. So yeah, I'll probably wait for a closure at some point above 2038 to confirm buys, and it'll be a third time to confirm buys in that exact same zone again with the exact same trade. And yeah, it should be clean. I think the only concern here really is whether or not this is the 4-hour bottom wick, right? Or the daily bottom wick, sorry. Because the daily bottom wick is at 2029 and the 4-hour bottom wick is at 2021, and they're two different candles because this is a new day. So is this going to be the low of the day, or are we going to come down to rebreak that low before coming up? The good thing is that since we're waiting for a closure of 2038, anything from here to here could happen. Like you could like come all the way up to here, come all the way down here, and bounce around these ranges for however long just to break out, right? So it's not our job to anticipate the breakout. Our job is just to wait for the breakout and then get the bias going up afterwards probably. So I'll probably try to stay out this range today from 2038 to 2028 just because it's very tough and there's no direction set here just yet. If I was gonna say too, like if there was more time in this candle here in the 4 hour candle, then what you could do is you could probably anticipate buys on the break of the 4 hour highs, but you only have 36 minutes left. If you had maybe like 2 hours, 2.5 hours left, sure, but this gets a little tough here. So I'm not sure exactly what we can do aside from just waiting for a breakout above that level there. Let me see what's up with the other time frames, but I'm pretty sure it's the same concept. 4 resistance at 2038. Let's drop down to 1 hour and 30. Yeah, right there. So yeah, it doesn't really change much, chat. I'll say anything above 2041 would be great for buys. Here, this is the 1 hour resistance, right? So 2041 could be great for buys, or you can look for buys going up towards 41 because 38 is also a major level as well. So maybe we can mark up that. We can also mark up this to the left right there, and that would be a range that's above the current ranges. So let's go there. Let's go put this here. Let's go mark up your support, which in this case would be where, why is it doing that? Your support sits you around at 2030, right? And then your, if I'm not wrong, I think 2030 is also your daily bottom wick, is it? Yeah, it's also the same bottom wick area. Yeah, so that's what I'll do probably. I'll leave it as is for now. There's a level at 2038, level at 2030. What I will say here, chat, is and I know like I've said this for 3 days straight, and we've yet to done it. And it is like no matter what price does here, I still believe 41 must get tapped before ripping down. Same analysis as yesterday, really, because you got to grab liquidity at some point, even if you wanted to drive down, right? And looking left, like driving down the past, like you were able to drive down only after actually breaking the highs here, right? Like same thing here, when you drove down this time around, you came up, broke the highs first, same time here, same time here, same time here, right? All of those times came out to tap 41, and that's a level you haven't tapped yet. You came very close, I think, yesterday during the Asian session, but you didn't tap it. So could we look for buyers going up to tap these levels today? I believe we can. I think the hard part here, or I think what we can do is wait for the 30-minute closure. And if the 30-minute candle closes, I'll say respecting this support to the left at 2034, or actually no, respecting this support at 2035, what you could do is take buys on the break of the 30-minute highs, because above that high, you have clean traffic going up towards 2038, which is a 16 pip range. And an overall ranges going up would be towards 41 for your overall TP. Because I think 41 is a level where it's going to be very tough at. So if you were to continue driving up, likely it'll be after 9, because you need a closure above 41 to continue driving past 41, right? But buys till 41, buys to 38 are very doable as long as the structure is being presented here, which in this case, if you get a 30-minute closure, right, that broke all the lows here and closing above 2035.700, then amazing. The next 30-minute candle, it should do something like this, right? It could do this and then come all the way down like this. That's cool, right? But the idea is that you likely will tap into that zone first, even if you were to rip down on price. So this might end up happening today, for all I know. Who knows, right? But the idea is you can look for positions going up if you do close respecting that structure on a 30-minute time frame, which is in 30 minutes here. So that's probably what I'll wait for, chat, to be honest. With the way the 4 hour looks, like you created a bottom wick. I'm not sure what you did first here. I think the 4 hour kind of opened up here. Yeah, it came down for a bottom wick, and now you're starting to flip, and the previous 1 hour count just broke the lows anyways, right? So anything above the 1 hour highs here, which is above 2036, would be great, because you break that high, you have clean traffic going up towards 2035 or 2038.527, and that's what you can look for today. It's either that or it's gonna be after 9 a.m. for buys, because you need a closure. But I would prefer the earlier position because you do have news at 10. And again, I don't think the direction at 10 will be the same as the direction before 10. I believe if you were to drive up, then 10 a.m. likely at any given point could still rip back down, right? So yeah, chat, that's what I'm probably gonna do and wait for here. In terms of sells, I didn't really speak about sells today, but I believe sells are possible. It's just I believe sells won't happen for a little while, and by a little while I mean until you break below 2030, which is far from where we are right now. You're gonna need to close below 2030 and then create a top wick, create structure, and then sure we can look for sells afterwards, right? But likely it'll have to be after you get something like this being formed. That's the only way I can grab sells, and that won't be until likely at the 9. So you don't got to worry about that just yet. Just worry about the next current part of the cycle, and the next current part of the cycle shows you that 2038 could get tapped here, and that's the idea behind the trades. But yeah, man, that's about it. That's all I can really say. That will be my analysis, man. Don't listen to this dickhead. He will let you draw down 150 pips. Don't listen to this dickhead. He will let you draw down for 150 pips. Don't listen to this dickhead. Damn, bruv.